Hey everybody, Matt Stevenson, president of Allied Wealth here. Thanks for coming back to our On the Money YouTube channel. Today I've got my good friend and financial advisor here with Allied Wealth, Peter Lott, joining me. Thanks for coming back to join us. And really what we want to talk about today are two of the essential elements in building a comprehensive plan. You know, we do our YouTube channel, we do radio and TV together, but we're financial advisors. You know, our primary goal is to help people navigate all these uncharted waters to and through retirement. And so much of that, you know, we talk a lot about risk tolerance, and sometimes that's a fluid conversation.
It is.
You know, a lot of what we talk about with our clients is what is your capacity to take risk? Meaning, what can you afford
Well, Matt,
to
talk
lose?
about that for a second, because you know, you say risk capacity, you say risk tolerance, all these different things, but really, what does risk capacity mean to a retiree, a guy that's maybe 65 years old that has $1 million in his IRA that he's pulling income from? What does really that risk capacity mean to that gentleman?
Exactly. So when we talk about risk capacity, and that's often overlooked when, you know, we research things on the world's smartest financial advisor, Google, or maybe working with another financial advisor. But it's what can you actually afford to lose and maintain your lifestyle all the way through retirement over maybe the next 20 or 30 years. And Pete, you've had some recent client examples where we've seen some pretty substantial losses and how that impacts things.
Matt, I had a gal come in probably 2 days before we're here airing this show right here to now. She's down 35% in her portfolio.
Wow.
She was not rich to begin with. She's not rich now. And her advisor never picked up the phone to call her to say, this is something we might should change. This is maybe you're taking too much risk. We're several months into this drawdown. No one's called her. No one's talked to her. She's lost 35% of her net worth, and it just evaporated. She didn't take the money to Vegas. It's gone. So what I showed her were tools that we could, kind of like I call this, you trade in the car in, right? You've got this old car. It's a beater. It's a clunker. It's not fuel efficient. It's cost you money in repairs. You don't continue to drive that car. That's a no-brainer, right? You go and you get the new car that is faster, sleeker, more fuel efficient, less in repairs, because that car is going to take you in the future better, right? And that's what it is, taking your old, outdated financial plan that maybe you started 15, 20 years ago that you've never updated is now more up to date with, one, your current situation, and two, what's going on in the economy today. Most people think this is this buy and hold strategy that we're just going to ride this thing out. This may not be the time to ride it out. This very well may be here to stay, because this whole uncle inflation that showed up that we didn't think was ever going to stay, he hasn't showed up in 40 years, now he's showing up. That's a big deal with portfolios this year.
And, you know, we're talking already about, you know, what's our tolerance for risk, what can we actually afford to lose, but that's directly tied to our investment selection that we take. You know, what's under the hood of our nest egg? What were some of the things that you found with this lady in particular?
She was in stocks, individual stocks that her and her stock picker advisor had informed her it might be some good buys, and maybe they were in the past. But she was in a place to where, as we know, she's just gotten crushed. And to see that happen, that pulls at my heartstrings in a matter to where somebody's letting just this go by the wayside. And it's probably because she didn't have a lot of money. And I understand that she wasn't your big client, but she matters too. And those clients matter to me, those clients matter to you, because it's your life savings. I don't look at anybody that comes in my door as a number. It's your life savings. I don't care if you have $50,000 or $5 million. It still took you your life to get to this point, and we want to treat it as such and build something for you that can take you on in the future without having these big dumps in your portfolio.
Absolutely, and that's part of what we want to help folks identify when they come to see us is, you know, is their investment selection, is it already on the right path? You know, we put that to the test. Maybe we don't need to make any tweaks or adjustments, and you've got a great probability of hitting all of your goals, maintaining your lifestyle for the next 20 or 30 years. If that's the case, that's awesome. You're already in good shape and prepared for retirement. Maybe we can't add value to your situation in that case, and maybe we part as friends. Well, that's part of what we want to help you with is if we can identify that maybe things are out of whack. Are we taking more risks than we're comfortable with? You know, the risk tolerance conversation, we see these kind of silly surveys that we all take online, scale of 1 to 10. How aggressive or conservative do you want to be in your portfolio? That's a really difficult conversation. It so much depends on your age. Should you be taking the same amount of risk as you were when you were in your 30s, now when you're in your 50s or 60s? Maybe, maybe not. It also depends on the market environment, right? Some of what we hear every day is, Matt, Pete, I want to take as much risk as we can. We're having awesome years in the market. And then when we have years like this, hey, is it time to get out? Should I sell to cash, or is there something out of the market to protect myself that I can do? And so part of that is understanding, do we need to make adjustments to what we're doing to build our plan? And it's not where we want to make wholesale changes. What if we change this knob one way or another to get the best mix, whether it's in the market investing, out of the market investing, to create an environment where we can remain successful?
Matt, another story that I want to talk about here today is a client that before he came to us, he had about $1 million. He's ridden this thing down. He's got about $650,000 now. And back on risk capacity here, he never changed his distribution rate. So his number was still the same amount of income at $1 million. Now he's got $650,000. So he's putting that much more pressure on his portfolio. And his name's Renee. I said, Renee, did you have any idea that you needed to pull your income down because your accounts have suffered so much? Your account's down 3, 4, 5%. That's not a big deal to change. But if you're down 30, 35%, you absolutely have to change your distributions from your income. If not, that pressure on the portfolio is that much harder, and you're going to run out of money that much faster. And that's something I will not let go on my watch.
Yeah, and we're teaching classes, we're getting calls from radio, TV show, people watching the YouTube channel as well. And so many of those questions are, I was going to retire. Do I have to kick that back a year or two? I'm already retired. Do I go back to work full-time or part-time? Let's put some math to that and quantify, where are we right now with things? Do we need to change our risk tolerance equation? Based on the level of risk that we're taking, are you at capacity or more than capacity for what you can afford to lose in retirement? If we find that's the case, some tweaks and adjustments might be in order to make sure that you don't run out of money or income over the next 20 to 30 years without that constant paycheck coming in. And folks, that's exactly what we're here to help with at On the Money and Allied Wealth, is to help you understand, what's your tolerance for risk, how much you can afford to lose in these impact events, and understanding what the right mix for that investment selection is to have. If you've liked our content here today, make sure to check out future content, hit the like and subscribe button below, and we'll be back for next time.